Hello and welcome back. Before I begin, I'd like to give a big thank you to the artist Sean, Julia Redideo, Perpetual Reader, and Homer Hot Dog for becoming my latest subscribers. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. And now, on with the haul. This is once again going to be a haul from the Book Thing of Baltimore, a wonderful nonprofit that gives out free books every weekend and also accepts any unwanted books you might have. And for more information, you can visit their website at www.bookthing.org. And onward and upward. First, I got The Spy Decameron by Fay Weldon. I know it seems like every time I go there, I bring back a Fay Weldon book, and she wrote a lot of books, so it's actually kind of great that I get a little treat every time I go. This, I believe, is the same book that was published in the US as The Spa. This is a British publication, so I'm kind of hoping it's the same book. And then I got The Dice Man by Luke Reinhardt. This is kind of a cult classic. It's about a man who decides who makes every decision in his life with a throw of the dice. And of course, it eventually escalates to, rape and murder and all kinds of horrible things, because otherwise it wouldn't be much of a novel. And I was excited to find this because a couple weeks ago, or not weeks, months ago maybe, sorry, losing track of time here, I found The Search for the Dice Man by the same author, and am eager to find out where it all began. And this was really cool. Apparently, Luke Reinhardt also wrote the Book of Est. Now, Est, for those of you who weren't around at a certain time and haven't done a lot of reading about that time, was a sort of consciousness enhancement or consciousness-raising fad that took hold, I guess, in the late 60s, early 70s, maybe later in the 70s. It stands for Erhard Seminars Training. And it was sort of the height of these kinds of fads that came out of, I guess they're most associated with California, and during that time period where it was sort of like the encounter group system where people would, yell at each other and get screamed at. And so Luke Reinhardt wrote this book about Est, which I'm sort of eager to read. Oh, and oddly enough, this was shelved in the mystery section, which it's a mystery to me why it was there, but I'm glad I was browsing and managed to find it. And then I picked up this novel, Bicycle Days by John Burnham Schwartz. This is about a young man who winds up as an expatriate in Japan. And I don't know why I'm kind of interested in these expatriate in Japan novels, but apparently a lot of people are, because there sure are a lot of them. My two favorites of those, by the way, in case you're curious, are Ransom by Jay McInerney and The Devil of Nanking by Mo Hayder. Those are my two all-time favorite Western expatriate in Japan stories. Then I got An Unexpected Light Travels in Afghanistan by Jason Elliott. This is kind of interesting because it was written before 9/11 and the U.S. invasion, so it's kind of a different, and it was written right before. It was written, I think, in 1999, so it's kind of a snapshot of how Afghanistan was right before then. Then I got The Rector of Justin by Louis Auchincloss, I guess. He's one of those authors who is really quite well known and whose books, I guess, don't interest me all that much, but I sort of felt like I should give him a try, and this is supposed to be his best book. Then I got A Coffin for Demetrios, classic spy novel by Eric Ambler. And I remember I mentioned in an earlier video that I had realized that I, in fact, had probably never actually read a spy novel. And I still have not, but I really do plan to remedy that. Then I got this novel, The Mirage by Matt Ruff. This sounds like it could just be really kind of gimmicky and not all that good. It's sort of a what if on September 11th, 2001, Christian fundamentalists had attacked the Islamic world, and it's basically like a mirror image of what would be going on today if that was what happened. And I don't know, things like that can be kind of gimmicky, but I'm sort of interested in the author and what the heck. And then I got a memoir, The Best Little Boy in the World Grows Up by Andrew Tobias. And Strong Arm by Dan J. Marlowe. Never heard of this, but it is an old Black Lizard publication, and Black Lizard is one of the best publishers out there for crime fiction, especially noir fiction, so I figured it was worth a look. And then I got Frisco Pigeon Mambo, a novel by C.D. Payne. And you may recall a couple of hauls ago, I was really excited because I finally found Youth in Revolt by C.D. Payne. This is, by the same author, and I had never even heard of it or seen it around anywhere, so I figured I might as well grab it just in case I decide Youth in Revolt is really great and I decide to read all his other books. And plus pigeons are my favorite animal, or there's sort of a tie between pigs and pigeons, but I love pigeons. And I was really excited to find this. You may remember, I think it was in my second book haul, I found this humongous number of Anthony Trollope books at the book thing. And in fact, I even wound up doing a little spin-off video just about my Anthony Trollope collection. But one of the few that I didn't find was his autobiography. And today I managed to find it, and it's really cool. The Oxford World's Classics nowadays are paperback editions, and really pretty nice looking paperback editions. But this is a little hardback Oxford World's Classic from back in the day. And I'm not sure about this one. This is Lost Souls by Poppy Z. Brite, vampire story. And Poppy Z. Brite wrote a novel called Exquisite Corpse, which I read a while ago. And that was sort of based on the Jeffrey Dahmer murders. And it was, I don't know, it was clearly so engineered to be shocking that I didn't really find it all that shocking, and in fact found myself a little bored. But I've heard that her vampire stuff is really good, so I figured I would just give this a shot and see what happens. And I was a little bit on the fence about getting this one, but this is Incidents of Travel in Central America, Chiapas, and Yucatan by John L. Stevens. And the reason I was hesitant about getting it is that it is in 2 volumes, and this is volume 2, and they did not have volume 1. But I'm really trying to get more into reading travel narratives, and especially classic travel narratives. And I figured, it's a travel narrative, volume 2, you can probably read volume 2 without having read volume 1, it's not the end of the world. And maybe volume 1 will eventually show up, because this is years ago, Emma Goldman wrote a 2-volume autobiography, and I found, I think, volume 2 there. And I just picked it up even though it didn't have volume 1 with it, and then years later I found volume 1. And I still haven't read either volume, but, it happens, so maybe volume 1 will show up. And then I got Ms. Faust, a novel by Chris Dubbs. Never heard of this before, but I'm sort of a devotee of the Faust legend and try to read all the iterations of it that I can, so decided to give it a try. And then I got A Deepness in the Sky by Verna Vinge, or perhaps Vinge. This is the second book in the series that began with A Fire Upon the Deep, which I also have and have not read yet, but I figured if I read it and really like it, I'm going to want to read book 2, so I might as well give this a grab while it's there. And these things are really long, so I don't know, but they're supposed to be really great space opera, and I do tend to like that little subgenre of the science fiction genre, so we'll see. And I was really excited to find this. This is The Serpent and the Rainbow by Wade Davis. This is nonfiction about a guy who goes to Haiti to investigate the zombie legend and see how much truth there is to it. It was made into a not really all that great movie by Wes Craven that sort of sensationalized it, so I'm curious to see what happens with the book. Then I got this novel, The Death of Vishnu by Manil Suri. I believe he's a local author. local to Maryland, if not Baltimore. I forget what the whole story is, but I just remember when this came out, it was a big deal around here, and I thought it sounded pretty good, and I'm finally spurred to read it. And then this was kind of cool. It unfortunately does not have a dust jacket, but this is a collection of cartoons by Edward Corrin called Well, There's Your Problem. And I've been an Edward Corrin fan actually ever since I was a little kid, when my mother gave me a book by Delia Ephron called Do I Have to Say Hello, which was a manners book for kids. And it was just really hilarious book, and it had illustrations by Edward Corrin. So I've been kind of a fan of his ever since, and was glad to find a collection of his. And then I got Henry James the Master, which is a volume in Leon Edell's massive Henry James biography. I'm actually not sure if I have this volume or not. I have a bunch of them, and I'm sort of trying to get the whole thing together and then read it. So if I have this, obviously I will just take it back. But if I don't, glad to fill in the gaps. Then I got Heliconius Spring by Brian W. Aldiss. Aldiss is a big figure in the British new wave of science fiction, which was big in the 60s and 70s. Michael Moorcock was another one in that movement, and I've liked a couple of his that I've read. And I actually have not read Brian Aldiss yet, but excited to try this trilogy, and I actually had the second 2 volumes of the trilogy, so I was excited to get this one, which is the first. And then I got this little Modern Library volume, Selected Short Stories of Franz Kafka. And I got a couple more of Vladimir Nabokov's, Mary, and The Defense. And this one was filmed as The Illusion Defense, which I thought was a pretty nice little indie film. And I got D.H. Lawrence's John Thomas and Lady Jane, which is an earlier version of his famous novel Lady Chatterley's Lover. And I got this horror novel, The Shroud, by John Coyne. It sounds kind of interesting. I'm not entirely sure about it, but I figured it was worth a try. And last but not least, I got The Adventures of Robin Hood by Roger Lancelyn Green. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.